The Chosen Season 4 is officially 29 days through its filming. We are moving right along, and this week we got a few interesting details as well as a complete and final word on what exactly is happening with the whole Yoshi situation, which if you haven't seen my last weekly breakdown, then I would be sure to go check that out if I were you, if you haven't seen it yet. And check out all of my other weekly breakdowns for the Chosen Season 4 filming, because we talk about a lot of interesting stuff here on Against the Current A The Chosen podcast. And if you want to get all caught up, then go to the playlist that I have, Chosen Season 4 weekly breakdowns, right there on my YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe so then you're notified about all of my upcoming weekly breakdowns, then please make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on all notifications for Against the Current A The Chosen podcast, because you're not going to want to miss those videos as soon as they come out. So let's get right into talking about a few interesting details from this week, from a Thomas and Rama Andrew supervised date to a few other interesting scenes with Jesus and the disciples, and something with Jesus and Gaius that I'm very, very excited to see this season. So, we're going to talk about all of that in today's video. With that said, let's go ahead and roll that intro.
Trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
Trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
I said trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
So before we begin, first of all, I would always like to issue a spoiler warning if you do not want to know what's happening in the upcoming season of The Chosen Season 4, and you want to go in completely blind, even though, yes, I know we've all read the book that is based off the Bible. I still like to give a spoiler warning every time for those who don't want to know what's happening in the upcoming season. So if you don't want to know, then I would suggest not watching this video and listening to my podcast link down below in the description if you want to stay updated on all of my thoughts on The Chosen. Now, also before we get started, if you haven't heard, The Chosen is doing its new Multiply Come and See Foundation fundraising program. My page is still available and up and running. We're trying to get to $100,000, and as of the recording of this video, we are only at $711. So that is far from the goal that we're trying to reach here, to get as much money as possible to help the Come and See Foundation translate The Chosen into as many languages as possible. So if you want to help the Come and See Foundation and help my chances of being an extra in the Chosen Season 4 finale, then I would highly please ask that you would go to the link down below in the description or in the pinned comment. You can find it there, and donate to my Come and See Foundation Multiply fundraising page. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And remember, in my next video that I do, every single person who donates will get a shout out, and that is very exciting. And who doesn't want to have their name shouted out in YouTube videos? So if that sounds fun to you, then go click the link down below in the description and donate to my page. I would greatly appreciate it. But let's not waste any more time. I want to get started right away with this weekly breakdown, week 6. Today we're going to be covering days 25 through 29 of filming, which means that we are officially, in my opinion, 1 month exactly through the Chosen Season 4 filming. And if you didn't know, next week they're going to be taking a week off. So that's right, next week, or I guess this video comes out on Monday, so that means this week they are taking a break, and that means next week there will not be a video because there will be no breakdown to cover. So I might think of something else to do, like a ranking or something, but don't expect a video next week. We're going to have to wait till the week after to do it with another weekly breakdown. So starting with day 25, we have this clip from the director himself, Dallas Jenkins.
Is she what? Oh, yeah, she did last year.
Where we can see that, yes, for this day, Matthew's dog, who was introduced in Season 1 and was also brought back in a flashback in Season 3, Episode 1, Matthew's dog is back this season, so who knows what purpose he will serve, but nevertheless, it's always nice to see this dog again because it's a very cool character. Always adds a little bit of smiles to people's faces, and if you didn't notice, the handler who usually handles the dog, I think the dog's name is Pepper, I believe, the person who usually handles the Pepper and trains Pepper and is responsible for how this dog knows how to do all the stuff the dog's supposed to do in the scene, he is now an extra. He's dressed in first century clothing, so that's probably easier on the team and the crew, and Dallas has shown his disdain for the dog before, just because dogs are infamously hard to work with on film sets. So I think it was a smart choice of them to make the handler an extra, just to make it a little easier to get the dog to do what it's supposed to do. And of course, Dallas, being the good steward and trooper that he is, he will never shy away from heading into hard situations and hard circumstances, because he knows that it is for the good of the viewers and us watching that we will enjoy it all the more. So we also have this clip from Dallas Jenkins from day 25.
Action!
And And as you can see here, we have Gaius and another Roman Centurion walking into this area. This looks to be in the Roman section of Capernaum, and this is the same area that the dog was in. So whatever this scene has to do with, it is with Gaius, this other Roman guy. I don't know if he's a Centurion, but this other Roman person who we've seen before. I forget the guy's name. But Gaius, this other guy, and they seem to be having to do with a scene that involves Matthew's dog. Maybe they're going back to Matthew's old house. I don't know. We do know that they filmed a scene later in the week that has to do with Zebedee's oil business, but we'll have to see exactly what is happening in this scene. Nevertheless, I'm always excited to see what scenes are upcoming in The Chosen Season 4. With that said, let's move right along to day 26. And speaking of Zebedee's oil business, we start day 26 with this clip from Dallas Jenkins right here.
I don't know if they tell them. I feel like maybe.
Now, who do we see here in this scene? We have Tamar, Mary Magdalene, Rama, Judas, and John all here in this scene. So they're managing clearly something for Zebedee's oil business. This probably has to do with what they filmed on week 1 of filming, where they were loading up these spices into a carriage to be carried off to the synagogue to get the blessing on, and that scene was also continued in later weeks that we saw in filming. We saw whatever this scene is where they're getting these blessings on these spices or oils or whatever. Definitely not spikenard, because that was imported from India. I explained that in an earlier video. You can go check that out if you want. So whatever this scene is, it'll be interesting to see what exactly is happening here, but it's definitely a continuing plot line about how Zebedee's oil business is definitely going to be a big part of Season 4, and this plot line will be running throughout Season 4, and as Dallas Jenkins said in a comment on one of my videos earlier that I did talking about Zebedee's oil business, he said that they definitely have a reason for what they're doing with Zebedee's oil business. So whatever it is, it's going to build up this season. And there were a few mentions from it from Nick, who plays Zebedee, and George and Abe, who play James and John, about how the oil business is going to get bigger part in this season, and it's definitely going to be building up to something. Now what that something is, we'll have to see exactly what it's going to be, but nevertheless, it is always exciting to see what's going to happen in The Chosen Season 4. Now, moving on to this next clip right here from Dallas Jenkins again. We see that Thomas and Rayma are having a nice time frolicking in this meadow, and we see Andrew off to the side, maybe chaperoning or supervising this date, whatever it will be. And whatever it'll be, it will be a funny scene because this is going to be a very interesting situation. I'm very excited to see this scene when it comes to be. This might be part of episode 2, which we know will deal with Thomas and Rayma. That scene earlier in week 1 of filming where they were sitting on the docks talking, Dallas confirmed that that's going to be part of episode 2 of season 4. Also, he confirmed, on a side note, that that scene between Simon Z and Judas washing their clothes by the water, which you can check out my first weekly breakdown if you haven't yet to know what I'm talking about there. He confirmed that that scene will be in episode 1 of season 4. So these scenes will hopefully be seen on the big screen in theaters, because if The Chosen continues the trend they've been doing for the past few seasons, they might be releasing episodes 1 and 2 of season 4 in theaters, which would be very awesome to see, because I'm always said I am a big believer in the theater experience. I love going and experiencing a beautiful piece of art and cinema with tons of other people in the same room, all going on a journey together, experiencing the highs and the lows and the laughs and the cries of whatever movie or TV show in this case that you're watching. It's always a super awesome experience, and I really, really hope The Chosen does it this season, and I have no doubt that they will, because the theaters always love to have The Chosen back because they bring high box office success. So the theaters love it, the fans love it, except for those, I guess, who are, can't see it because they live in a different country. I guess they don't love it and they have to wait until it's on the app. But for those of us who do go to see it, it's certainly a phenomenal experience, and I really, really hope that they do episodes 1 and 2 in theaters again this season. That would be awesome when they arrive next year in 2024. So we're going to move right along to day 27, and this clip is actually very interesting. So I'll play it for you right here.
Are you able to I am drinking? Or to be baptized with the baptism of which I will be baptized?
Were you listening there? Did you pay attention to what Jesus said? What Jesus said is a direct quote from both Matthew 20, verse 20, and Mark 10, chapter 35, and onwards. This is a direct quote from what seems to be two events that are kind of the same thing. One event, as described in Matthew 20, verse 20, is that James and John's mother, Salome, comes and kneels before Jesus and gives a special request to Jesus that James and John both sit on Jesus' left and right hand. And then in Mark 10, it's James and John who come up to Jesus and ask that they sit on his left and right hand. And then he says, can you be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized? And they say we are, and it's a whole thing. But it seems to be, those two seem to be similar events, and in here I don't see Salome anywhere. It would be maybe a continuation of that scene that we had filmed. I believe it was week 4 of filming, after the whole rock name change incident where Simon's name is changed from Simon to Peter. Then James and John are discussing with their mother about it, and she is kind of upset about it because she asks James and John what their new names are, and they say they didn't have any, so she gets pretty upset about that. So I think that leads right into this scene right here where Salome is like pretty upset about it, and James and John in the Bible are always pretty prideful about themselves. So then now with the whole Sons of Thunder thing, now they have it called the Sons of Thunder, and now they're asking that Jesus lets them sit on his left and right hand, and then it's a whole thing. And then later I think the disciples get a little bit mad at the Sons of Thunder, but that's exactly what this passage is going to be, and that scene is going to be definitely a very interesting one to see when it comes to fruition, when The Chosen Season 4 premieres next year. I'm definitely excited to see this scene. It's going to be a pretty funny one, because James and John, again, it's always fun to see the disciples get rebuked for their arrogance, so that'll be fun to see. Moving right along to day 28 of filming, this is Thursday, we get this clip right here from Dallas Jenkins, the director.
Camera set.
Background. Action.
Blessed are you, Lord, our God, King of the universe, who has given us life, sustains us, and allowed us to arrive in this moment.
All the way from the harbor villages of the Upper Galilee, Capernaum. Can you believe that, Moshe?
Now this looks to be maybe some kind of promotion or something for Shmuel. Like maybe he's moving up in the ranks of the Pharisees a little bit. Now Yusuf's friend is there, and Yusuf is praying to God, so maybe I guess he is being promoted or something. And his friend talks about all the way from the upper cities of Galilee, Capernaum. Maybe he is talking about Nicodemus. That would be very cool. Maybe Nicodemus is making his return. Maybe he's seeing Shmuel in this promotion ceremony. That might be pretty cool. Or maybe this other Pharisee is just talking about Shmuel. I don't know. But nevertheless, it's a cool scene. And as always, I will be very interested to see it when it finally comes to the big screen. And yes, for those who are wondering, it is that time. So on Thursday, this same day, Yoshi Barrigas, who plays Phillip, or I guess played Phillip, took to Instagram to give a definitive statement on the whole Yoshi issue, where the Snipe Live speculated that he might be not returning as Phillip, it might be being replaced, which caused a whole lot of stir and controversy. And finally, Yoshi has come out with a statement, which means I can give my definitive thoughts on it now. And I won't repeat what exactly I said last time, but I will go ahead and read his statement for those who haven't seen it. Yoshi says, "Hello, it is true. For professional and personal reasons, I will no longer be a part of The Chosen. First and foremost, I want to thank you, the fans. Our connection and your constant showering of love and support has seeded me with a warmth that will forever nourish me. Meeting you out in the world and hearing how the show has personally enriched your lives continues to be the connective tissue between me and the good folk of this world. You inspire me to continue to die to self and discover the way. I hope you continue to follow my journey. I have a lot more to share with you. I could not have gotten to where I am without you and without The Chosen. I want to thank Dallas and Amanda for changing my life and entrusting me in the role of Phillip. I physically see and feel the impact Dallas's baby has had on humanity when you all approach me and share your stories. It is so positively overwhelming. I learned how a set operates. I learned the infinite depths of my craft and the many ways to approach it. And most importantly, the show operated as a vessel for God to demand that I begin to know Him, to praise Him, to enjoy Him. My studies of Scripture have and continue to chip away at all my excess marble. Finally, I want to thank the incredible crew. It was an absolute honor to be a part of your family. I learned so much from watching your passionate work and was spoiled by the kindness you managed to radiate whilst focused on the task at hand. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you. I will continue to be a fan and supporter of The Chosen. Let's all welcome and support the new Phillip, who has an exciting opportunity to bring himself into the character. I'm happy for him and the journey he is about to undertake. I love you, Yoshi." So, Yoshi has given his final statement that he is not returning as Phillip. And this is a very heartbreaking and sad thing to note because I really loved his performance as Phillip. It was really awesome. He really brought himself into that role. He made that character so memorable and so likable. And I personally can't at this moment picture anyone else playing that character. But alas, that's not the way it's going to be in real life. In reality, someone else is going to step into the role of Phillip. That is Reza Daiko, who is going to be taking over the role of Phillip in the upcoming season of The Chosen. So we'll have to see what exactly Reza is going to bring to this character. And I fully trust that he is going to do a great job. But, I mean, you know, you can't deny the fact that it is sad to see Yoshi leave. Yoshi was such a big part of the show. He was such an awesome dude, such a great actor. At Defeating the 5,000, I met his mom and his aunt. Such a nice family, such a nice guy. Very, very sad to see him leave. And he will be deeply missed, as I know, by the Chosen community and the Chosen fans. Because we all love Yoshi. He was great. But, you know, things change. People, you know, life goes on. And we'll have to see what exactly this new Phillip brings to the table. Because it'll be interesting. And we see him, this new Yoshi Reza, in the clip from day 27 where Jesus is talking to James and John. He is also prominently featured there, and he has the classic Phillip headband. So it's sad, but yeah, life goes on. I am heartbroken to see Yoshi go, but I'm excited to see what exactly the new Phillip is going to bring to the table. And that brings us to day 29, the final day of filming for this week. And first of all, we have this clip from Dallas Jenkins right here.
I just started talking to the mint. I was like, oh, Minty, you're the only girl for me. That's my lady.
And he kind of parted ways with Judas at the beginning of season 3. But it seems that he's making his return this season, so maybe Hadad/Bob, which is what we all called him before we knew what his name was, and we all really got attached to that name. We'll have to see if he has a hand in maybe Judas's eventual betrayal. Maybe he is a big factor in that. We'll have to see what happens. But nonetheless, the guy, Josh Shagoran, who plays him, is a great guy, super fun. I am super excited to have him back this season, and it'll be interesting to see what exactly he has to do in the upcoming season of The Chosen Season 4. Now, on this day, The Chosen actually experienced a lot of thunderstorms, and they had to move from shooting an outside scene to actually move to shooting scenes inside, as you can see from this picture right here. It seems that they had to film in Simon's house, that's what it looks like, because they had to move to the soundstage. Obviously, they weren't going to film outside because of all the thunderstorms, so they moved inside, and it looks like they moved to filming a scene in Simon's house, which should be interesting to see. And we also got this clip right here from Dallas Jenkins yet again. Where you can see Jesus looking very distraught and sad, and Gaius walking up to him. So maybe this has to do with Season 4, Episode 6, which is going to be titled Dedication. If you haven't seen my video on that, you can go check that out right up there. That's going to be a very interesting scene. I can't wait to see what's happening here, but this definitely has something to do with Gaius' plotline. This week definitely had a little bit to do with Gaius. So, not only did we have the Sons of Thunder and their whole sitting on the right and left hand of Jesus thing, but we also had Thunderstorms, and they had to move to shooting. It was a whole big deal. It was pretty crazy. But luckily, I don't think anyone was harmed. Everyone's safe. Everything's okay. And I think they were still able to move along with filming. So, with that said, I think that's just about it for this week of filming for The Chosen Season 4. Some big developments. We're still moving right along, and it will be kind of nice to take a break this week. Just kind of sit back a little bit. I'm going to be going out of town, so it's nice to take a little break, honestly. But I will miss the interaction every week with the fans and trying to speculate and guess and try to figure out what's happening next season. It's always a ride, and there'll always be new stories to tell when we get back this next upcoming week, when they start filming again, and of course all the way till the end of July when they finish filming. That's going to be a lot of fun, and it's always going to be fun to do these weekly breakdowns. So don't worry, I'm not going to stop with that, but a reminder, if you haven't yet, please go donate to my fundraising page on the Multiply Come and See Foundation website down below in the description. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video where we will be covering week 7. That'll be in a couple of weeks, and I will see you then. With that said, Binge, Jesus.